When people talk about Mopar's legendary muscle engines, most instantly think of the 426 HEMI, the ultimate powerhouse, famous from the streets to the track. But there was another engine, one that powered countless iconic cars, delivered outstanding performance at an affordable price, and once made HEMI sweat at short drag strips. That engine is the 383 Magnum. Born in 1959 and reaching its prime between 1967 and 1971, the 383 Magnum wasn't the king of spec sheets, but in the real world, where torque and power-to-weight ratios rule, the 383 earned serious respect. In this video, we'll dive into this forgotten powerhouse, from its origins in the B-block family to its high-performance Magnum variants, the legendary cars it powered, why it was overshadowed by the HEMI, and why today the 383 is being rediscovered as a true muscle car legend. Are you ready to travel back to the 60s and meet this forgotten warhorse? To understand why the 383 Magnum became the go-to choice for millions of American muscle fans, we need to start at its roots, with an engine family that seemed ordinary, yet laid the foundation for an entire golden era. It all began with one name: B-block. By the late 1950s, Chrysler was deep in the displacement race against Ford and GM. The answer? A new engine family, the B-block V8s, designed to sit right between small blocks like the 318 and large monsters like the 413 or 426 wedge. And in this B-block lineup, the 383 cubic inch engine made its first appearance in 1959. It wasn't called Magnum yet. At launch, it was simply a 6.3-liter V8 with decent performance, easy manufacturing, and versatile fitment. With a bore of 4.25 inches and a stroke of 3.375 inches, the 383 was an over-square engine, perfect for high revving performance and quick throttle response. That set it apart from many rivals of the time, which favored long-stroke designs better suited to low-end torque, but slower to rev. It also used a canted valve combustion chamber at an 18-degree angle, improving burn efficiency and making future head upgrades easier. The thick cast-iron block was built to take abuse, more than capable of handling boost or high-power builds without cracking. At first, Chrysler didn't intend for the 383 to be a full-blown muscle engine. With such a solid foundation, all Chrysler needed was a final push to turn the 383 into a market-shaking powerhouse. That moment came in 1967, as the muscle car craze peaked and American automakers entered an all-out performance war. To compete with the Chevy 396, Ford 390, and Pontiac 400, Chrysler launched the high-performance version of this engine, the 383 Magnum on Dodge models and the 383 High Performance on Plymouths. Official output: 335 horsepower. Torque: around 425 pound-feet. But in reality, experts believe the actual numbers were closer to 350 to 360 horsepower, since manufacturers often underreported figures to dodge insurance hikes and stay competitive in pricing. Technically, the 383 Magnum received a full performance upgrade, a 4-barrel Carter AFB or Holley carburetor, a hotter camshaft with longer duration for high RPM power, a 10-to-1 compression ratio, much higher than base versions, dual exhausts for optimized flow, improved cylinder heads for better breathing and combustion. The result was a powerful, reliable, and easily serviceable engine, a true street warrior. But even the most powerful engine only becomes a legend when it's paired with the right machines. And that's exactly what happened with the 383 Magnum, as it found its home in some of Mopar's most iconic muscle cars, from the Dodge Charger and Coronet RT to the Plymouth Roadrunner, GTX, Super B, and even the Barracuda. In fact, the 383 Magnum was the most widely used performance engine in Chrysler's muscle lineup between 1967 and 1971. It wasn't the extravagant choice, like the HEMI, it was the smart choice, balancing power and affordability. Upgrading from a 383 to a 426 HEMI often cost over $700. That's over $7,000 in today's money. And the real-world performance gap wasn't always significant, especially in short, one-quarter-mile drag races. Thanks to its smaller and lighter structure, cars equipped with the 383 were typically 220 to 330 pounds lighter than their HEMI counterparts. That gave them a better power-to-weight ratio, and under the right conditions, even better acceleration. What's more, the 383 Magnum paired perfectly with 4-speed manual gearboxes, letting drivers extract every ounce of power without fancy tech or perfect setups. Beyond its power and popularity, the 383 Magnum earned the respect of gearheads thanks to its incredible upgrade potential. That's exactly why, even today, this engine is considered a prime foundation for both vintage and modern performance builds. First, the foundation is rock solid. The 383 is part of the B block family, with a thick cast iron block known for handling heat, pressure, and high RPMs. It can take high compression and even forced induction without the cracking issues seen in some other big blocks. Factory flat-top pistons and simple combustion chamber design make compression upgrades easy. The 18-degree canted valve cylinder heads flow well, and they're easily swapped for aftermarket options like Edelbrock Performer RPM or Mopar Stage 6 heads. The Magnum camshaft is already aggressive, but many builders upgrade to grinds like the Comp Cams XE275 or Mopar Purple Shaft to push power higher in the RPM range. There's also a rich aftermarket ecosystem for the 383, Holley 750C FM carburetors, Edelbrock Torque intake manifolds, MSD ignition systems, and stroker kits that push displacement to 431 CI or more. Thanks to its simplicity, affordability, and raw durability. Yet despite all that flexibility and muscle, the 383 Magnum has never been mentioned in the same breath as some of the era's most legendary engines. And the reason isn't performance, it's how the world chose to see and remember it. By the late 1960s, Chrysler had thrown all of its marketing weight behind the 426 HEMI. They made it the ultimate icon, the NASCAR-winning beast, featured in special models branded as the Elephant Engine. It became the face of raw power. In contrast, the 383 Magnum was too accessible. It showed up in too many cars, was too affordable, and too common to feel exclusive. To automotive media at the time, the 383 was the default option, not the ultimate weapon. Car magazines consistently hailed the HEMI as a technical marvel, while the 383 often got reduced to a footnote or second billing on spec sheets. Even in drag racing and NASCAR, the 383 was rarely the engine of choice. And when a name isn't tied to glory or featured on magazine covers, it slowly fades into the background, even if millions once drove it and heard it roar down America's highways. But even without the media spotlight, the 383 Magnum quietly proved its worth, not just through the sheer number of cars it powered, but also through special variants and a long-lasting impact in the performance world that spans decades. During the golden age of muscle cars, trims like the 383 Super Commando on Plymouths and 383 Magnum 4-barrel on Dodges were considered go-to setups for performance. Cars like the Roadrunner, Super B, and GTX, equipped with the 383, could run the quarter mile in about 14 to 15 seconds. Seriously impressive for an affordable package. As a build platform, the 383 was known as a willing block of iron. With a 440 crank or aftermarket stroker kits, it could be expanded to 431 or even 438 cubic inches, creating true sleeper beasts. Calm on the outside, savage under throttle. Most importantly, the 383 mates well with modern tech, EFI, electronic ignition, performance exhausts, and even 4- or 6-speed automatic transmissions. That's why it's a top pick for Restomod projects, where old-school looks meet new-school performance. Today, at car shows or Mopar meets, the 383 Magnum doesn't need to shout. Because in the world of American muscle, not every legend needs to shout. Some machines leave their mark in quieter, deeper ways. And the 383 Magnum is the perfect example. It didn't have to win every race or make magazine covers. It just had to be there, at the right time, in the right cars, delivering power and reliability without the fanfare. The 383 isn't just an engine. It's part of a collective memory. From a time when anyone could own a muscle car, rumble down Main Street, and turn heads without breaking the bank. Though it may not be wrapped in myth, the 383 Magnum deserves to be remembered as the silent warrior that brought muscle to the masses and still beats strong in every rotation. So, what about you? Have you ever owned or driven a Mopar with a 383 Magnum under the hood? What stood out the most? The startup rumble, the low-end torque, or just the feeling behind the wheel? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear your memories tied to this legendary machine. And if you enjoyed today's ride, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next adventure.